So the first time I remember experiencing anxiety, I was about 7 years old. I was on the playground on my own, and I'd probably been rejected by some of the other kids. And I remember experiencing an overwhelming sense of doom come over me. And along with a feeling like there was something wrong with me and that I was not good enough for them. Now, obviously, back then, I wouldn't have been able to articulate those thoughts. And this was the beginning of a deep and lasting social anxiety. I went from being a fun and outgoing child to completely closing down. I became disconnected and spent most of my school life in a state of fear and anxiety about what people thought of me, feeling outcast and not able to connect in the way I so desperately wanted to. As a teenager, I found my first solution for this in alcohol, which became my main source of anxiety relief for about the next 20 years. At 18, I went to a psychologist who sent me to a psychiatrist who gave me pills that made me feel numb, and I decided that that was not how I wanted to live. My whole life, I was in and out of depression. I've contemplated suicide. But the worst part of it was, and maybe some of you can relate, was the feeling that I was broken in a way that couldn't be fixed and I would be like this forever. That was the scariest thing. I felt like I was trapped in this life. At 36, I went on my spiritual journey. On some level, this was a search for truth, but it was also a search for something that could help me with my emotional pain. I started doing yoga 2 to 3 hours a day. At one point, I meditated 1 hour per day for a whole year. I did silent meditation retreats. I studied ancient philosophies, and I even took ayahuasca. I was relentlessly trying to find a solution for the pain I was in. And it was through this journey that I went on to start to study modern therapeutic modalities and eventually came to an innovative coach called Daniel Packard. Daniel Packard had suffered PTSD and had developed his own methods that were having impressive results at helping people with anxiety. I had the privilege of working with Daniel for 10 months, and while I have many influences, I want to honor Daniel by saying that a great deal of what I will share with you today is thanks to what I learned with him. Now, through all these explorations and my work with Daniel, I now had the foundations for what I was about to discover, but I had still not found a laser-focused solution for my anxiety. I'd gathered many tools that kind of helped, but when anxiety came over me, I was not able to reliably and consistently regain control and get immediate relief. Then something happened. I was 39 years old in the midst of the pandemic, and I was in a bad way. I'd had no source of income for over a year. I'd been working on a project for 10 months that was failing, and my money was running out. On top of that, my girlfriend, who I was in love with, left me. I was destroyed. I spent hours curled up on the couch in emotional pain. Worries about the future and feelings of unworthiness were overrunning my system, and I couldn't get out of it. I tried desperately to implement what I'd learned along the way, but to no avail. It was too strong, and I was lost in the experience. In this state of emotional pain, nothing I did worked. I couldn't meditate. I couldn't do a breathing exercise. I didn't have the mental capacity to do CBT or use the tools that I'd learned with Daniel. I was at the lowest of the lows, and I was desperate to find a way out. It was in that deep place of despair and emotional pain that I discovered something that worked, something I could do even when I was in extreme emotional pain, even when I was lost in fear and self-loathing, and something that gave me an immediate feeling of relief every time I did it. This one thing changed everything for me and helped me start to regain control of the situation. This one thing became the core of the anxiety relief protocol, and I will share it with you today. It's incredible how powerful this is and that no one is really talking about it. This protocol has completely changed my life, and it's completely turned around my social anxiety. I went from being soul destroyingly afraid of talking in groups, talking to people I admired, talking to women I was attracted to, and forget about talking on camera or talking on stage. Now I feel much more confident in these situations. I'm talking on camera all the time, and I've even started to go on podcasts and speak publicly. If you told me 1 year before I discovered the anxiety relief protocol that I would be here talking on camera, talking on podcasts, or talking on stage, I wouldn't have believed you, and just the idea would have given me anxiety. But there's something even more important that I got from this protocol and my new understanding of anxiety that I would like to share with you today, and that is hope. You see, I thought that I was broken in a way that couldn't be fixed, and that I was stuck with this soul-destroying feeling forever, and that I would probably die from it in one way or another. Now I know that's not the case. I know I can get my anxiety under control, and as time goes by, I'm actually healing my anxiety so that it becomes less and less until sometimes, for some things, it's gone completely. And if you have felt the same way, if you've felt that there's something wrong with you, that you're broken in a way that can't be fixed, that there's no way out, then let this also be a new beginning for you too, because it's not true. There is a way out. You can heal your anxiety and you can take your life back, which is what I want for you. And the most important first step is what I'm going to share with you today, which is the anxiety relief protocol.